Well, good morning, everyone. I hope you're ready for 1 Samuel chapter 14, verses 24 through 52 today. This is the second half of 1 Samuel chapter 14. I call the message Proper Management. Proper Management. To those Christians who are always in a hurry, here's some good advice from the 19th century preacher A.B. Simpson. Beloved, have you ever thought that someday you will not have anything to try you or anyone to vex you ever again? There will be no opportunity in heaven to learn or to show the spirit of patience, forbearance, and long-suffering. If you are to practice these things, it must be now. Have you ever stopped to think about in heaven you won't have to have your patience tried? You ever stop to think that in heaven you won't have to worry about being long-suffering with somebody else? Yes, each day affords countless opportunities to learn patience. Don't waste them. Commenting on our need for this virtue, M.H. Lount has said, God's best gifts come slowly. We could not use them if they did not. Many a man called of God to a work in which he is pouring out his life is convinced that the Lord means to bring his efforts to a successful conclusion. Nevertheless, even such a confident worker grows discouraged at times and worries because results do not come as rapidly as he would desire. But growth and strength in waiting are results often greater than the end so impatiently longed for. Paul had time to realize this as he lay in prison. Moses must have asked why many times during the delays in Midian or in the wilderness. Jesus himself experienced the discipline of delay in his silent years before his great public ministry began. God wants us to see results as we work for him, but his first concern is our growth. That's why he often withholds success until we've learned patience. The Lord teaches us this is needed. This is a needed lesson throughout the blessed discipline of delay. For many of us, time and patience are thin. We often want to be in a hurry. However, God is not in a hurry. God is perfectly able to manage time, talents, and treasure. It is us who struggle with these things. So how equipped are you to handle and manage the resources at your disposal? Today we'll see Saul trying to manage what few resources he has at his disposal as God has given the Israelites victory over the Philistines. Today God wants you to see Saul's mismanagement of resources. This man is neither patient, nor long-suffering, nor careful, nor wise as it relates to his resource management, whether it's in time, talents, or treasure. There's three ways that we will see Saul mismanage resources in these verses. The first way, in verses 24 through 35, Saul's preclusion. He mismanages food. How do you mismanage food? Many of us are pretty good at managing our food, as you can see. Second way we see Saul mismanage resources, verses 36 through 46. Saul's predicament. He mismanages his family. Now, how do you mismanage your family? But he does. And the third way we see Saul's mismanaged resources in verses 47 through 52. Saul's prerogative. He mismanages his forces. Now, how do you mismanage your forces? But he does. He seems to do well at this mismanagement. Proper management is not at his disposal, apparently, as we go through these verses. So let's start to look at this. Starting in verse 24 through 35, Saul's preclusion, he mismanages food. And the rest of the men of Israel were distressed that day. Now, what day? So you remember last week we talked about how God had brought victory through Jonathan and Jonathan's work. God had brought victory to the Israelites over the Philistines. And so now in the aftermath of all of things, what's going on? Saul had placed the people under an oath, saying, "Cursed is the man who eats any food until evening, before I have taken vengeance on my enemies." So none of the people tasted food. Now all the people of the land came to a forest, and there was honey on the ground. And when the people had come into the woods, there was honey dripping. But no one put his hand to his mouth, for the people feared the oath. But Jonathan had not heard his father charge the people with the oath. Therefore he stretched out the end of his rod that was in his hand and dipped it into a honeycomb, put his hand to his mouth, and his countenance brightened. Then one of the people said, "Your father strictly charged the people with an oath, saying, 'Cursed is the man who eats food this day.' And the people were faint. But Jonathan said, 'My father has troubled the land. Look now, how my countenance is brightened, because I tasted a little bit of this honey. How much better if the people had eaten freely today of the spoil of their enemy which they had found. For now there would not have been much a greater slaughter among the Philistines.' Now they had driven back the Philistines that day from Michmash to Ahijan. So the people were left very faint. Then the people rushed on the spoil and took sheep, oxen, and calves, slaughtered them on the ground, and the people ate them with the blood. Then they told Saul, saying, 'Look, the people are sinning against the Lord by eating with the blood.' So he said, 'You have dealt treacherously. Roll a large stone to me this day.' Then Saul said, 'Disperse yourselves among the people, and say to them, Bring me here every man's ox and every man's sheep, slaughter them here and eat. And do not sin against the Lord by eating with the blood.' So every one of the people brought his ox with them that night and slaughtered it there. Then Saul built an altar to the Lord. This was the first altar they had built for the Lord." So we see Saul's mismanagement of food here in this text. And you may be thinking to yourself, as I wasn't studying this, what are you going to say about this? Is that what you're thinking? That's what I had been thinking all week. What am I going to say about this? Because it's really kind of a quick, it was a long thing to read, I get it. But it's kind of a quick thing. You could surmise this in about a sentence or two and figure out what's going on here. They won the battle, and instead of pursuing them immediately, he wants to, kind of take a rest here. For some reason, they're going through this forest. They could have eaten something, had enough strength, pursued them, and wiped them out completely. They could have done that. They did get to them eventually. They could have gotten there a lot faster if they had. You ever tried to walk at work and you just feel like just out of breath, you're just so hungry, and then you sit down and you have a candy bar or something, and you're like, wow, I should have done this 20 minutes ago. I feel so much better now. Like a Snickers or something. They really satisfy from what I understand. Right? And that's all you needed. You didn't need to eat, a big pot of spaghetti or something. You just need like a Snickers, and you're just able to, maybe it's a blood sugar thing, I don't know, but that's all you needed. And you could have gone the rest of your workday and probably been okay. This is really all they needed. Jonathan has just a little bit of honey and he feels a lot better. It says his countenance brightened, he was way better off, and he was ready to go again. Just a little bit of honey. That's all they needed. And Saul's all worried about it. He doesn't want them to be worried about eating and stuff. We need to do whatever. He mismanages this. How do you mess this up? Just let the people eat. Have you ever done something stupid like this? Where you think to yourself, man, I wished I would have just said it like that, and I wouldn't be in this predicament that I'm in. It's really easy to make fun of Saul, and he really has made some genuinely boneheaded moves. However, before we get really quick to say that this guy's a genuine bonehead, have you ever done something dumb like this? Maybe you shouldn't have said that last little snide, snickety kind of comment. Simple stuff that maybe you're not even thinking. Maybe he was just thinking, gosh, we just need to go, just don't spend time eating so we can get there. Maybe you did this with your kids. I don't want to stop. But Daddy, I need to go potty. Oh, if we just hurry up, we can just get there and you can go then. You know what happens? Now you got to clean a car seat. Just dumb moves. Just stop. It's okay. His mismanagement of food is indicative of some of the mismanagement that we have in our own lives. Do we think that we have the market on properly managing everything in our lives? If we were to dissect our lives and look at just how poorly we've mismanaged things, I suspect that we would be appalled at our own lives. As we look at our society in general today, do you think people are good at managing money? This country's in debt up to its eyeballs and beyond. I mean, not just as a nation. I'm talking about like personal credit card debt. I'm talking the average car payment is like $700. I'm talking we are out of control as a people financially. We are mismanaging funds like who laid the rail? And we're going to think that Saul's a bonehead because he wouldn't let him eat the honey. But we have no better operating than this guy here. Like, we're so far off the beaten path from our finances, it's not even funny. Financial coaching is such an awesome experience nowadays because everybody's a client. That's financially. And that could probably be its own sermon if we really wanted it to be. Let's think about other things. What about obesity in our society? There's a reason why the 600-pound life is so popular on TLC. We don't manage our health well as a society. Everybody's on a pill these days. I remember one of the last times I went to the doctor and the nurse says that he's taking the vitals and stuff. And so, you on any medications? No. She looked at me like she saw a ghost. Everybody's on something. It's crazy these days. What's wrong with us as a society? Our health is out of control. Our finances are out of control. Our family lives. Do you know anybody who's estranged from one of their family members? Our family lives are out of control. I mean, single motherhood in this society of ours is absolutely rampant and out of control. What is going on here? Am I taking crazy pills or am I the only one that sees this stuff? What about spiritually? How are we doing as a people spiritually? Are we managing our spiritual life and our spiritual health well? How many of us spend every day in the Word? I don't meet a lot of people that spend every day in the Bible. I rarely meet people that spend once a month in the Bible. It's crazy. I mean, from people that call themselves Christians who don't know the first thing about their Bible. We want to claim that we're a Christian society maybe 100 years ago. What's happened to us as a people? Do we pray like we're supposed to? Do we meet these spiritual disciplines like we're supposed to? Are we in our Bible? Are we going to church? Are we sharing Jesus? How are we doing? How are you doing on a spiritual level? Are you managing your spiritual life in an effective way for the growth of the kingdom? I bet most people don't. If I'm being perfectly bluntly honest, I don't think most people are there. So shoot me. It's just what I see. What do you see? But we're going to say Saul's the bonehead for not letting these guys have a bit of honey. Well, he probably is. He probably is. But you know what? We're no better. We're no better than this guy. He's mismanaging this food here, but we mismanage food on a way worse scale. And the implications of that are really bad too, from developing diabetes, heart conditions, and the medical list goes on and on. But Saul's the bonehead. Sometimes these messages are way more introspective than I think they are or should be. Because when I started reading this, I'm thinking to myself, what in the world am I going to say about this? He doesn't let him eat honey. Next. What else you got for us in here, author of 1 Samuel? Let's have something good. Where's David at when we need him? And then as I start thinking about it over the week, because I like to write my sermons early in the week so I have time to think about it. And as I'm going through the week, this is all I'm thinking about is, man, I was ready to just call this guy out on the carpet and just say, wow, another red flag for Saul. As we've been going through this, we've been seeing these red flags of Saul. How he's not doing what he's supposed to do. He's not going where he's supposed to go. He's not saying what he's supposed to say. He's not meeting who he's supposed to meet. He's not where he's supposed to be. When they decide to proclaim him king, he's hiding. Like, this guy has just got red flag after red flag. And boy, it's just so easy to just nail him. But the longer I go through this, and the more I read this, the more I study this, the more I'm starting to see myself in Saul. Have I always been first to pray when I needed to pray? Have I always been where I'm supposed to be when God wants me to be there? Have I always been so good at managing my resources all the time? No, I have not. And rarely am I, if I'm being frank and honest. And I doubt there's very many people out there that are any better than me. Because we're all in this together. And the reason why I am struggling is probably the same reason you're struggling. It's a 3-letter word, starts with the letter S. Because we're sinful. Because we want to do what we're not supposed to do. And we just make life harder on ourselves. Constantly. And it's real easy to say somebody else is the bonehead. It's real easy to put on a facade of I got it all together. It's real easy to point out flaws in somebody else's life. It's so easy to look at Saul and say, boy, what an idiot he is. If he'd have just let him have the honey, it would have been just fine. But you know what? You can go through my life and point different things and say, you know what? If you'd have just done this, life would have been a lot easier for you too. Probably right. You're probably right. Who's the real bonehead here? You're looking at him. What are you going to do? You think you're any different? We're all in this together. We're just one beggar telling another beggar where to find food. Saul says, guys, don't eat this honey. Don't eat the honey. Don't do it. But there's a little wrinkle in this story, isn't there? A little wrinkle in this story that just makes it a little bit more interesting than Saul just not letting the people eat some honey. There's a little wrinkle in this story. His name is Jonathan. And you know, the hero of last week's message all of a sudden becomes the quasi-villain of this one. Because Saul, the king, the guy who we're supposed to be looking up to, the guy who's supposed to be leading the charge, the guy that's supposed to be getting the right answers here, who rarely seems to, he's supposed to be in charge here. He's back in the saddle. He's going to lead this troop to victory, and everything's going to be just fine, except you can't eat the honey on the way to do it. And Jonathan, the one who kind of seems like he's got it more together than his father does, comes along without hearing this command. He eats the honey. Whoops. That'll get interesting later. But they do eventually meet up with the Philistines, and they do eventually win. Bless their hearts. Okay, they did it. And as part of the spoils, they're taking sheep and oxen and calves. They slaughter them on the ground. If you read your Old Testament history, you know all of a sudden where this is going. You're not supposed to do this on the ground. If you're going to slaughter something like this, usually the priest is the one who's supposed to do it, and it's not supposed to be done on the ground. Come on, guys. You know better than this. But they slaughtered on the ground, these animals, And then they eat with the blood. Boy, they just can't seem to get anything right here. This mismanagement of what's going on here as far as food is concerned. Don't eat the honeycomb, but I guess you can eat these animals. Is this guy playing with a full deck of cards? You ever tell somebody one thing that they can't do something, and somebody else comes along and they start doing it, and all of a sudden it's fine when they do it? It's kind of what Saul's doing here. Don't eat the honeycombs, guys, but then they just start eating the animals with the blood, killed on the ground. We just have a problem here, is really what it is. This is just a mess. Look, the people are sinning against the Lord by eating with the blood. Well, that's true. So, Saul, what are you going to do with it? Well, disperse yourselves among the people. Say to them, bring here every man's oxen and sheep, slaughter them and eat. Do not sin against the Lord by eating with the blood. As long as you guys just don't eat it with the blood, it's going to be fine. Well, it's not going to be fine. You're not supposed to do these sorts of things. Stop mismanaging everything that falls into your hands. Stop messing everything up, guy. Okay, so he does. He built his first altar to the Lord there. To me, this looks like somebody who's just, they've been told for a while now that they should start going to church, and they're thinking about it. And then the next time you see them, whether it's at work or something, they come in with a Jesus shirt on. Like, that makes a big difference. Great. He built his first altar to the Lord. That only took him a couple of years. After completely mismanaging everything that's been given to him thus far. But sure, he builds his first altar to the Lord here. Great. Way to go. Super. Thanks, Saul. Is this supposed to impress me at this point? Am I supposed to be so enamored with this guy now that, wow, maybe he's turning his life around. He's got a Jesus t-shirt on. I'm not sure that's how that works. But here it is. This is what he's done. His preclusion to decide that he's going to pull one off like this, he completely mismanages the food here. But this isn't the only thing he's going to mismanage in this passage. He's got a predicament. He mismanages his family. Verses 36 through 46. Now Saul said, let us go down after the Philistines by night and plunder them until the morning light, and let us not leave a man then of them. And they said, do whatever seems good to you. And the priest said, let us draw near to God here. So Saul asked counsel of God, shall I go down after the Philistines? Will you deliver them into the hand of Israel? But he did not answer him that day. And Saul said, come over here, all you chiefs of the people, and know and see what this sin was today. For as the Lord lives, who saves Israel, though it be in Jonathan my son, he shall surely die. But not a man among all the people answered him. And he said to Israel, you be on one side, and my son Jonathan and I will be on the other side. And the people said to Saul, do what seems good to you. Therefore Saul said to the Lord God of Israel, give a perfect lot. So Saul and Jonathan were taken, but the people escaped. And Saul said, cast lots between my son Jonathan and me. So Jonathan was taken. Then Saul said to Jonathan, tell me what you've done. And Jonathan told him and said, I only tasted a little honey with the end of the rod that was in my hand, so now I must die. Saul answered, God do so, and more also, for you shall surely die, Jonathan. But the people said to Saul, shall Jonathan die who has accomplished this great deliverance in Israel? Certainly not. As the Lord lives, not one hair of his head shall fall to the ground, for he has worked with God this day. So the people rescued Jonathan, and he did not die. Then Saul returned from pursuing the Philistines, and the Philistines went back to their own place. So he mismanages his family here. So he gets to this point where he's trying to build this altar. And so now let us go down after the Philistines by night. Let us not leave a man of them. And they say, do whatever is good of you. And he finally does something else. So not only did he get out a Jesus t-shirt to wear, but he's also, and you're going to love this, he puts on a cross necklace. You ever seen these people before? Because surely if the Jesus t-shirt is good, why not put the cross necklace on too? Why not? Because you want to think, wow, he's actually doing something really good here. He's finally figuring it out, isn't he? But is he? Is he figuring it out? Just because you put on a Jesus t-shirt and a cross necklace doesn't mean you figured anything out. It means you put on a Jesus t-shirt and a cross necklace. That's all it means. Just so we're clear. He asked counsel of God. Wow. Shall I go down after the Philistines? Will you deliver them into my hand? And this is probably my favorite part of this whole passage. This is the next part. What happens next? After he inquires of God, he builds this altar, he inquires of the Lord, he thinks he must be doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing, and what is the Lord's response? Finally, perfect participation. God said nothing. Well done, guys. He does not answer him. He says nothing. He's silent. It's my favorite part. You ever see somebody just a try hard? They just think that they're God's gift to the whole thing. They're just this try hard. And then all of a sudden they ask for some help and the boss doesn't even look up at them. Yep, you deserve that one, didn't you? Doesn't even answer him. And instead of getting discouraged, instead of saying, why not, instead of doing something else, come over here, all you chiefs of the people, and know what this sin is today. For as the Lord lives, though it be in Jonathan my son, he shall surely die. Okay, time out. This guy is so mismanaging his family, it's not even fair or funny. Who was it that brought victory to Israel in last week's sermon? It was Jonathan. God worked through Jonathan in last week's message, and it was fantastic. Jonathan demonstrated an ability to talk to the Lord, to inquire of the Lord, to bring the Lord into conversation. Just normal conversation. I mean, this guy was probably just walking with the Lord. It was awesome. So now Saul's in a situation where he wants to inquire of the Lord and put his Jesus t-shirt on, and that's fantastic. Who do you suppose that he could ask what we should do next? Jonathan, maybe? We're not doing that. No, we're not doing that. Why would we do that? Why wouldn't, he's already demonstrated a willingness to divide his army with Jonathan. We saw that at the start of chapter 13. Remember I can't wait for David. Jonathan had some men, Saul had some men. You remember this? He's already demonstrated a willingness to do this with his army. But now they're at a point where they can go and pursue the Philistines and overtake them finally and officially. Where's Jonathan? Where's Jonathan when you need him? Why doesn't he talk to Jonathan? What is going on with this guy? Why does he mismanage his family so bad? If you've got a son like this that you can depend on and count on and are doing some really great things with, why this would be when you'd want to have him the most, maybe. Nothing. So now we're going to get to the bottom of this with this whole eating of the honey thing. Because as you remember, anybody that eats of this is going to die. And we know that Jonathan is the culprit. So in an attempt to try to figure out who it is exactly and what's going on here, they're going to cast these lots. So they put the people of Israel on one side and Jonathan and Saul on the other side, and the lot falls on Saul and Jonathan. Okay, so now we eliminate all these people. So they're going to cast it again, and it's going to fall on Jonathan. So that must be the culprit, and it is. Does he die? Are Saul's threats valid? Or is this guy just a bunch of hot air? Be very careful when you give out threats. If you are not able to follow through on them, it just makes you look weak. It makes you look undecided. It's just not a good look for a king to make wicked threats like this and then to not follow through on them. But that's what's going to happen. Jonathan's going to get a pass on this. And it's not because Saul's going to give him a pass. It's because the people are going to come in. They're going to demand for Jonathan to be given back to them. They don't want him to die. At least the people recognize the value of Jonathan. I wish Saul could also see the value of Jonathan. So here's my question for you as you think about mismanaging. And he's mismanaging his family because they're father and son. But is there anybody in your life that walks with the Lord, that is doing what the Lord wants them to do? Do you have anybody in your life like this that you can talk to? Some of the best people to get advice from are those who are walking with the Lord. Like, I don't know why you would get advice or get information from people who don't know and love the Lord, but they're out there. So who is it in your world, in your sphere of influence, who do you know who's walking with the Lord, who's doing what the Lord wants them to do, that when life happens to you, that you can go to them for wisdom or insight or counsel or help of some kind? Too often times, these are the first people that get axed in our life. I mean, to be fair, it's usually the unbelievers that are doing the axing of us because they don't like us, because we are telling truth. Kind of like Micaiah and Ahaz. Ahaz is supposed to go to battle, and they say, well, what does the prophets say? And they bring in the prophets, and they're fake prophets, and, oh, you should go up and battle, Ahaz. And then they go, well, is there an actual prophet of the Lord that we can talk to? And he goes, yeah, there's one, but I don't like what he says. He's always speaking evil of me. I don't ever talk to him. That should be your first guy to, maybe even only guy to go to. Why would you not talk to that guy? Well, because he tells me evil. He's always saying bad things about me. Probably because he's right. Who do you get to go to? Who's the Jonathan in your world? So he mismanages his family. He mismanages food. He also mismanages his forces. I mean, this guy's the king of Israel. It's already been told to us through the prophet Samuel that the king is going to take people. He's going to take your sons. He's going to take your daughters. He's going to take your wealth. He's going to take your land. He's going to do all these things for the army, for battles, and for war. He's got all this lined up for him. How do you think he handles it? Verse 47, so Saul established his sovereignty over Israel and fought against his enemies on every side. If you've ever studied military history, that's probably not good to fight battles on every side all at the same time. Probably not a good move. Against Moab, Ammon, Edom, against the kings of Zobah, against the Philistines, whenever he turned, he harassed them. And he gathered an army and attacked the Amalekites and delivered Israel from the hands of those who plundered them. The sons of Saul were Jonathan, Jishul, Mechulisha, and the names of his two daughters. Firstborn was Merab, the younger was Michael. The name of Saul's wife was Ahinoam. If you can say these names better, just step right up. I usually just kind of mumble over them, so forgive me. His wife's name was Ahinoam, daughter was Amahaz. The name of the commander of his army was Abner, son of Ner, Saul's uncle. Kish was the father of Saul. Ner, father of Abner, was the son of Abiel. Now there was fierce war with the Philistines all the days of Saul. And when Saul saw any strong man or any valiant man, he took him for himself. He mismanages his forces, guys. Totally mismanages. This guy's he doesn't have any idea what's going on all around him. He likes to fight battles on all the fronts all the times. Whenever he turns around, he harasses them. I mean, why not just be at peace sometimes, huh? What's wrong with just relaxing? You ever know somebody that they just can't sit still? They just always have to be doing something. Did Saul have ADHD or something? I don't know. But he just could never sit still. Whenever he turned, he had to harass them. He's at war with the Philistines all the days of his reign. This guy just needs to relax. Let the army rest. let them have some morale once in a while, huh? Why does this always have to be such a problem with them? And fighting against all these people all the time? Man, what's wrong with them? You ever know somebody, they're just at war with everybody all around them, and you don't even like to talk about them. You don't like to talk to them because they're just fighting with everybody that's around them. Just like a cat, just all the time. You know anybody like this? I hope it's not you. I hope that does not describe you. I hope you're the kind of person who so well manages the forces in your life that everybody loves to talk to you. That you're the kind of person who's not just lashing out just because whenever you turn around you're going to lash out. I hope that doesn't describe you. I hope you manage your forces way better than this. Because you have an opportunity to do some really great things for the Lord. Opportunity presents itself every day to do what is right before the Lord, to do what is good, right, and healthy, to follow His commands, to manage the resources, the times, talents, the treasures that's been given to you. You have an opportunity every day to reevaluate and get yourself squared up with the Lord so that you don't have poor management of these resources, like Saul here. He's got these sons. What do they end up doing? We only know about a couple of them. His younger daughter will end up being married to David. Abner, we're going to learn the name Abner as we go through these chapters in these books. And there's fierce war with the Philistines all of his time. And any strong man that he finds, he's just going to take for himself. This guy just has no boundaries. He's got no fence. And when Hayden was little, there had to have been a fence around us because he just was never further away than right about here. And then Lil comes along and there is no fence. She could be down there if you turn around and you're like, where did she go? That's kind of what Saul was like. There's just no controlling this guy. He's just going to take your son. He's going to see somebody that he likes. He's taking him. He's just going to go to war. Anybody that talks about him, he's going to scratch. He's just got all these issues. This mismanagement of all of these things is just running pure through this guy. And I hope it serves as a cautionary tale for us. Because as easy as it is to want to just call this guy a bonehead, as easy as it would be to just make some excuse as to why we're different, hear me out. We're no better. We mismanage things poorly too. We mess up. We've got skeletons in our closet. Man, if we're going to properly manage stuff, you need to get yourself right with the Lord. Lean on Him and ask for His help with everything that you do. If you do that, you might just be all right. Let's pray.